What's up, Internet? I am taking the place of Hardware Hound today, and today we are reviewing the Cougar Armor Gaming Chair. Let's get down to it. I take care of the place when the master is away. So, unlike the Hardware Hound, I am not as fluid of a speaker. I'm gonna have to keep trying. Let's start with assembly. Okay, so funny enough, Google decided to make its own video of my unboxing and assembly. So otherwise, all the pieces, they were very wonderfully displayed. Putting together the back of the chair, and there's some broken pieces right there. I was kind of confused by it being wobbly, so I disassembled it. The casters for the feet were actually pretty easy to put on. Normal screwdriver, you want more than the one that comes inside of it. There's the assembly for how it turns left and right, and it wasn't actually that difficult to take apart and put back together. So features of the chair. The chair armrests, we'll start here, have, they say 4D motion, which is to say that it goes up and down, it goes side to side, forward, backward, and what I didn't know earlier is that it can go left and right. So I did not initially understand the left and right function. Actually, I will explain that right now. I originally thought it was broken because it was angled off. All the buttons still worked, but I did not understand. Turns out if you just look at the manual or look at the website, it tells you pretty plainly that it does that. So originally my initial thought is, why would I even want it to go left and right? I can understand bringing it inwards for whenever you're typing, that's the angle that your hands are going to be. But I did not understand why you would want it pointed outward. Until it occurred to me that there is a reasonable function other than looking menacingly with your arms spread out. And that would be when using a controller. So when I'm using a controller, I have my arms pretty much at my sides. Because you have them angled out and that they shift forward, backward, if I have them pointed out, shifted backward, and bring it down, I can actually, if I bring it up a little bit more than that, put this at a height where my elbows actually make contact with the armrest in a position that I wouldn't normally be able to put my arms on the armrest. So that's actually a more helpful option than you'd think it would be. So one thing that I appreciate about gaming chairs, I don't know if it's every gaming chair, but one thing I at least appreciate about the ones that I've tried is the ability to lean back as far as you want. Now, initially that seems completely ridiculous. I mean, the actual purpose is that it doesn't have stages where you can only go back, click, click, click. I mean, it is sort of doing that, but it gives you the full range of motion. I couldn't think of a practical gaming use for that other than VR street luging or bobsledding. But I crashed this computer a bunch of times not too recently, and it was awfully nice that while I'm waiting for this thing to finish its crashing, because it had to crash like 3 or 4 times before it'd give me the safe mode, is that I could lean this thing all the way back down and just about take a nap while I'm waiting for this thing to finish whatever it's doing. That's actually kind of nice. another feature slash additional attachment would be these pillows. So, where's the other pillow? Ah! The Cougar Armor comes with 2 pillows. It comes with a head pillow and a lumbar pillow. And the description said, you will love the headrest and lumbar pillow. Well, any initial thought about this chair would be, why would I want something jutting out at me in order to sit back? Because no other chair has that, and why would I love this pillow? I tell you what, I surprisingly used it a lot. So at work, I sit terribly because I'm in a chair all day. What I found is that, you know, I would get this lower back pain. Turns out you drop one of these in here, when you got that lower back pain, it's putting pressure on it. It actually feels pretty good. And I had it on there for a while. I would say use it as necessary. If you don't have back pain, this thing is also, it will feel like it's getting in the way. This head pillow thing, I can't see a reason to not have one, and I kind of find it weird that people would sell a chair without it, because this is actually kind of handy, especially if I'm leaning back and taking a nap. But this goes exactly where I need it to go. I mean, it's just doing the extra curve here when I'm leaning back. There's not a reason to not have one. You're just wasting space. I mean, I guess you're saving a little bit of money as a chair manufacturer, but this came in, you could find it for about $250, and honestly, I've seen chairs that are more expensive than this that don't have a pillow, which seems ridiculous. It does the normal things that a chair should do, other than recline, although it does that way better than the rest of them. Is you know, it has your up and down motion, and those are the immediate features. Let me get on to something else. I have some concerns. Couple of concerns. 2.5. First, I do want to say I do like the embroidery. I do think that that'll probably last longer than the vinyl, because it'll wear off as your head's on it. Problem is, as I've been using this pillow, what's been happening is, well, my head's here all the time, so the embroidery is peeling apart from the PVC leather. And that's sort of something that I kind of would expect to happen, just because PVC leather is just a fiber layer that's plastic coated, so there's a bunch of holes in it already, and you're threading a needle really close to it, and that's just going to, instead of widening it if it were leather that was real, it's not going to work that way because of the kind of material it is. It's not as big a deal for all the rest of this, because I don't think this is going to damage, and I think part of that's because it's a harder layer. This is very soft, very bouncy, and this wouldn't be a problem on... Embroidery doesn't typically do this, because on the things that you would normally embroider that isn't PVC leather, it's not this elasticy plastic. It's fibers that are pushing apart, that are sort of woven together, and you're just widening a square of it. Or, like I said, with leather, it's not in a condition that you can just pull it apart either. Other thing is these armrests. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. I appreciate, like I said, there's actually a reason to be able to do this left and right adjustment. Problem is that it also kind of makes it a little wiggly, which I don't think your armrest should be. You're not going to notice it when you are playing anything, because you're obviously too busy to care. Where you feel like it's a problem is showing it off, I suppose, because it doesn't feel like it's dirty. It's fine. I've taken it apart. You can see the insides of it. There's nothing structurally wrong with it. It's just being wobbly is not the best thing to show off. The half concern was in shipping. So during assembly, I found a piece that I just assumed wasn't on correctly, and there was a part where I was actually going to attach it. Turns out it just sort of broke off during shipping, which it's probably not going to happen to normal people. I just live out in the middle of nowhere where whenever something ships, it gets manhandled across so many states, it kind of just, the box just looks ridiculous. The nice thing is that Champ Chairs did send me a replacement piece to put on top of it. So really the half concern is this typically won't happen to you. You're probably not going to have that piece break off of your chair, but it might be something for Cougar to look into, to line the outside of their packaging with a foam or something around where plastic might come into contact with the edge of the box. Not a big deal. Probably. This most likely won't happen to you, but there's enough consumer support that you'll probably get it taken care of, even if it does break. Next thing. Extra thoughts. These wing back things, actually, when your back is totally up against this thing, it's kind of nice because it sort of prevents you from, being able to sort of lean off and put your body in a weird position to get comfortable, because they kind of don't want you to do that. So it'll actually sort of just keep your body in the correct position. The chair holds, I believe it was 264 pounds, 265, which is really nice because most gamers, including me, I'm actually a little bit heavier than I actually appear sometimes. Have a weight that actually is quite a bit more than the standard chair really thinks that you should be, because what people expect weight-wise is never really what the person sitting in the chair is going to be. It's actually got a decent leg width. I've actually sat in a lot of chairs that the base of it come in quite a bit more, so your legs are a lot more in. But this one, I can actually spread my legs out pretty well, so that's kind of a nice width. Still curves, but it's fine. Breathable leather. The breathable PVC. I don't know. Most of the chairs that I've sat in are all sort of mesh, so I couldn't really tell you if I sweat less in this chair than I would a normal office chair, because it's not like I've ever sat in just an office chair that's just purely made of leather. Which sounds kind of cool, but if it's hot, you're gonna sweat. It's not gonna make a difference. If you're in a decent, cool room temperature it's probably doing its job. So no fault there. Otherwise, I would rather have a gaming chair that I could afford than spend a ridiculous amount for a gaming chair that I could have been spending that money in other parts for my computer. It's very good for its price range, and some minor qualms aside, still a good deal. Very good deal. Alright. Quick wrap up. pros, lumbar and head pillow are actually way more comfortable than I expected them to be. It's still sort of, the lumbar is still sort of as needed, but actually pretty helpful. The chair itself, very sturdy, metal. Everything feels great. The base, solid metal. Lots of features in the arms for forward, back, and whatever position that you happen to want your arms to be. The embroidery is really nice. Cons and other quibbles? We'll just stick with cons. Arms are still a little bit wobbly. The embroidery can break a little bit if you're kind of rough with your head in terms of your motion. And possibly shipping, but not necessarily. Might be fine. Altogether, great chair. But what do I rate it at? As Hardware Hound's replacement, I am awarding Cougar's Armor Gaming Chair Pure Overclock's Great Hardware Award. Thanks for watching. I have been the replacement for Hardware Hound, and he and possibly I will catch you next time.